I need to know, is there anyone out there who's related or a descendant of anyone who was involved in these orphan trains, like your grandparents, anything? Where are their children, their grandchildren, their stories? Anybody? Because between 1854 and 1929, over 200,000 children were put on trains across America and adopted out to strangers. They were all real kids taken from cities, loaded into trains, and distributed across the country. And many of them never saw their families again. But the part that gets me is that why don't we ever hear from them? Where are the survivors? Where are their descendants? Why does it feel like this massive part of history just disappeared? Like, why do all the photos look the same? Go and have a look yourself and look at these pictures of the orphan train kids. Like, they look very similar. Obviously, they're all white in skin tone, nearly identical haircuts, very similar facial expressions, and very similar features. But what also doesn't add up is that pre-1900s, the world looked very, very different, as most of us know. Many regions, including parts of Europe and America, had much more melanin in the population than we see today. People were more darker, skin tones were more varied. Cultures weren't yet fully blended by colonial systems. So why are all of these orphans so uniformly pale? Obviously, we are starting to gather that this movement is more than just about displacement. Definitely was about repopulation and also about diluting what the world was and what it used to look like. You know, it's part of a much larger global shift, a reset that not only removes certain histories but certain bloodlines. Even in the UK, the child migrant program, where thousands of children were shipped from Britain to Australia, Canada, New Zealand, South Africa, they were told they'd get new families. Many were abused, worked like slaves, or disappeared. And in Canada, over 100,000 children were sent across the Atlantic between 1869 and 1948. Most of them ended up in rural labour and not in loving homes. And in Australia, I actually have a whole video on the stolen generation. Please check that, it's in my pinned videos. But yeah, in Australia, Indigenous children were forcefully taken from their homes and their families, and white British children were imported and placed into Anglo households. Even in Nazi Germany, the Lebensborn program, where Nazis literally bred and kidnapped children to create a racially pure generation with a goal to control what the future populations will look like. And then, of course, you thought I was going to forget about the incubator babies? So we got to question these. It's all wrapped in. I'm sure it's all wrapped in. Somebody drop me a message or something if you've got more than what's already out there, like other observations. All these ones I'm listing off are from the same time period. Incubator babies became a spectacle. So why did we not hear our grandparents and stuff talking about it? And if they did, please let me know. If you've got any grandparents or great grandparents that could remember or went, please share. Tiny infants displayed in glass cases at world fairs, amusement parks, and medical shows. People would come and watch them like exhibits. And as some of it was framed as early neonatal care, the numbers just don't add up. Who were these babies? Were they premature orphans? Were they part of a larger experiment? Or were they just created? Who knows? I think we need to start piecing this together because we can't rely on these people, our trusted government and education system, to give us the truth. No, we're going to have to collectively be conscious and start putting some things together.